Because
Yeah.
I want to confess something. I was 5 or 6 when Thundercats premiered. The
Mm,
original one premiered
right.
in Brazil, and so it was my show, my life show. Like I
Mm,
had everything Thundercats as a kid. So for me, it was very emotional when I heard about a new version in 2011, and I was avoiding it at all costs, man. Like I was, angry that they were
oh,
touching my Thundercats.
I
And then a
know.
friend of mine that was also in love with Thundercats, he said, "Man, you have to check that out." And I started catching up with the episodes on Cartoon
Mm,
Network. I believe it was Cartoon Network.
yeah.
But the thing is, I fell in love from episode 1, because what
Nice.
you guys did is like you respect what is the archetype of the characters.
Mm,
Like Lionel is that kind of leader, but a kind of irresponsible. Tigra is a, a certain aspect of Lionel, but a little more intelligent, but also
mm,
a little more, can I say, sarcastic, and
mhm,
so on and so forth. And they were all there, but all the things were mixed up, and that
mhm,
was gold, man. Because I'm not seeing again the show I love. If I
mhm,
want to see the 85 version, I
mhm.
go there and I check it out. And
Totally.
this version was so amazing. It was like alternate reality, and it
Mhm,
was so good, and the emotions and all that Tandera on Third World evolved, and we have like a society. So it
mhm.
have levels and very great aspects. It's no coincidence that I have, the Lionel
Yeah.
version in my desk.
Love it.
It was like the first. This was the first gift my wife gave to me when we were starting to date back then.
Oh,
So
that's
because it
fantastic.
became as important as the first version. So congratulations on that. I,
Oh,
I
man.
want to ask you about
Yeah.
how these ideas were brought to the table, and then I will pass the for Lucas. uh, how to use this feeling and the soul of the old Thundercats and do a
Mhm.
revamp that was like a total reboot.
Yeah, great question. There was I think we looked at it early right away and we're like, there's no way you can put lightning back in the bottle. It not in the respect of the old show. The original designs, the animators, the writers, the approach, like it was a magic time where all that could exist. And I think they did an amazing job that, captured our imagination. It just looked phenomenal. It was so different. And so in approaching it, from a new point of view, we had a lot of challenges. We couldn't, working with talking to Bandai and such. They had the need to say, um, we need at least 3 evolutions in every character for the series because we need to sell toys. We need to have variation. And so we're like, okay, check. Um, then we had heard from some executives like, hey, that their color palette is too limited. And, you know, in order to grab people's attention on the shelf, you got to have variation. So no orange and blue. Everyone can't be orange and blue. And one guy said that they looked like they were wearing space leotards. They looked like bad Jane Fonda workout clothing, or they had clown face. I was like, there was a lot of stigmatisms and stuff from the old show that people weren't buying into for a number of years. So we had a lot of challenges, and we also looked at animation studios who could even pull this off with the same level of attention to detail and depth and acting. And there were sacrifices, that we had to make in terms of like, do we go action or drama? Because we couldn't get certain animators; they were just so expensive. Um, and even as crazy as this sounds, during the time that we were making the show, that was when Fukushima happened, and the nuclear reactor, there was a meltdown, and the US dollar plummeted, in Japan, because they had to um, put the yen out, to help people. So that, they were printing money over there to help the people. And so the US dollar plunged. So the value of the show for the budget that we had, went from like 325,000 to 550,000 per episode, which we were never given clearance to kind of make that move, for the cost of the show for episodes and stuff. So, I mean, there was literally a lot going on behind the scenes, but to kind of get to the point of why we made certain choices and stuff for the show, we totally thought emotionally there's so much that we can bring, if you really look at the old show, it gave you something to learn from. It gave you like a code, which I embraced as a kid, like truth, justice, honor, loyalty, the code of Thundera. That was huge to me as a kid. So, I felt like it was super important that we honored that. And we had to earn everything. And to Michael Jelenick's credit, um, he was like, everything's got to be earned. That no one can just have things. It has to be explained. And we literally watched those old shows again in marathon settings to kind of really pluck and pull the best of 132 episodes and try to congeal what made it special into what we were going to be limited to 52 episodes. So how do you pack everything in the world into a much smaller, denser place? And with, again, all of those challenges that I was speaking about, how do we lay that show out, and what does it mean? And working with even a Japanese studio, as talented as 4C is, most of the animators, they don't study uh, anatomy, not like US comic book artists do, where you see everyone ripped, in like a Batman or a Superman comic or something. Like, they don't, most of their heroes in their animation are pretty thin, kind of skinny, pipe cleaner arms, very tubular. Um, so finding a lot of animators who would be able to even push that style would be a challenge. And when we think about the show complexity of just how it was drawn, we also had to contend with the fact that most animators were also drawing Pokemon and doing it for the same money as they would get for Thundercats. So how hard do you want to work? You want to work a 16-hour day, or you want to work an 8-hour day and go home to your family, and do that for years? So it was a huge commitment for the people that we worked with. So respect to 4C and all the people that decide to listen to my Braveheart speech and jump on that thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, we really tried to honor everything that we could from the old show. We paid really close attention to everything, every detail. We tried to see where we would push and pull, and what would be uh, conducive for the animation studio to be able to handle, what kind of, how they could do the animation. So it was a struggle. I think I worked 18 to 20-hour days every day for 2.5 years. It was unreal. Um, but it was worth it, every bit of it. I hope that, in a very long-winded way, I packed so much into that question. I hope I was able to give you some insight.
Yes, for sure. And
Se você curtiu esse vídeo, não esquece de conferir a entrevista completa aqui no Sobrecapa, galera. Valeu!